Live. Indeed, we are actually live. All right. Well, hello, and welcome to Intercultural Spark, that show about the spark inside you that drives you to spark change in the world through purpose-driven businesses. Each week, we sit down with entrepreneurs, small business owners who are living amazing lives, doing amazing things with so much depth and purpose. And it's like half the time we're under the radar because we're not big corporations or hopefully only in the news for good stuff. But it's so much fun. And so this week, my guest is KAI-DUC LUONG, who is an amazing artist and filmmaker and also does media production for corporations and weddings and everything. We're going to learn more about him. But first, I am going to do our interpretive exercise of the week. Ta-da, the flash exercise. So our flash exercise is an exercise because I'm also a certified group fitness instructor. So our exercise is something that relates to the theme of the show. Okay. So I always like costume change into exercise mode. So this is, I call this, I do it sometimes when I teach Aqua Boot Camp. I call it the basketball. I'm going to give you a high impact version and a low impact version. Invite you to do it with me. And then at the end of the show with Kai, we're going to let everyone guess what it is. I'm going to take my earbuds off for a minute. I understand you can still hear me. So this is the basketball. You do a dribble and then you shoot a basket. So you dribble and shoot. Dribble, shoot. Now, if you're doing it low impact, it's kind of like a dribble and a shoot, and a dribble and a shoot. So you can do high impact or low impact. Get a little disco version there. So that is our exercise this week. Kai, I'm going to bring Kai on to join us. I see you're already smiling and having fun.
Yes.
I'll let you guess what that is in the meantime. Kai, I would love it if you would sort of tell us a story that really gets at what your day-to-day life is like right now with your business. Can you do that?
Hi, Gianna. Sometimes it comes out of nowhere. Just 2 days ago, we had a potential client that needed some video done for the business, and my partner and I would just go and meet with the client and show them a proposal, and take it from there. Get a proposal, and then submit it and see if we get the job. And so that's or another, after that I had to come back and do editing for another job. So and then today I'm trying to work on my own movie. So it's kind of this balance between working on your deliverables for clients, but also trying to finish your own personal work. So
And what do you see as the, excuse me, I'm back in, speaking of different roles that we play, we're back in very serious business mode here. So
yes.
Kai, tell me, so it sounds like that's interesting. So in talking about the work that you do every day, it's, which is interesting because you always think of artists. We think like you're just being creative all over the place, which you are, but a lot of it really boils down to the business of meeting with clients, doing contracts. So it sounds like you just have a real mix of day to day of your work for clients and then also for your art.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely, I think as an artist, you have to be able to sustain your lifestyle as an artist. And, oftentimes an artist, I mean, it's not seen that way, but an artist is very much akin to an entrepreneur, maybe in a different fashion, but your art is somehow a means for you to, sustain a lifestyle and, create, the necessary conditions so that you can actually create art. Or you could be an artist and still have a corporate job. I chose a different path. I chose the path of working for myself, being able to be self-sustained and not have to rely on a 9-to-5 job to sustain this lifestyle. So, it's a
Mhm.
compromise that you make.
Mhm.
And-
Do you
and-
feel I just remember I used to work for the Newbury Street League. It was the Newbury Street League, it was the business association for Newbury Street in Boston, which is
I
kind of
see.
Boston's
Okay.
Rodeo Drive. And there's about 30 art galleries on this street. And I remember there was this one art gallery owner who always treated me like I was the anti-art because I would come in like with business, it's a small business association. So we're going to promote this, we're going to do that. And so it seems like what you're saying, which makes so much sense, is that art is a business just like any other business. Do you find a different mindset when you're looking at art, let's say for creation? Because I know you're working on feature films, you've done some amazing art installations. Do you see a difference do you have a different almost mindset that you come to it if you're doing a business project or an art project?
Yes, oh no, for sure. It's a different mindset, but at the same time, you have to convince, your foundation, the art gallery to, showcase your work and why this work is worthy of being showcased. And, oftentimes maybe the galleries will think about, how to maybe, sell the artworks, right? The galleries needs to, in order to maintain the gallery space, in order to have
Sure.
employees, they have to sell the artwork, right, and get a commission on the sale of your art. So in that sense, unfortunately, you do have to, be able to, see your art as a, way to, again, be able to sustain your lifestyle and,
Mhm.
uh, creation. And it's maybe sometimes, through necessity. I mean, the necessity, we like to say necessity is the mother of inventions, or,
Sure.
it's sometimes it is true. You can create all you want. And, I did that in the
Mhm.
beginning for about 3-4 years, and, was not able to generate an income from it. And so at one point you have to decide, well, maybe I'm just going to be like that. And well, you have to go back to corporate, and you have to find a
Mhm.
job,
Well,
you
and
know.
actually, just Kai, I think it's important to share that when you say, oh, back to corporate, you spent 10 years at Motorola as a systems analyst. Did you not? Like, what's
Yeah,
your
yeah. As a
training
systems,
was as an engineer?
yeah, I was a systems architect. I
Okay.
was a, software firmware engineer at first, became a technical manager. I had 16 people working for me. And then after that, I went into, software architecture and did that for 10 years. Yeah. So, I understand, how it's like to be in the corporate world. And
Mhm.
even though I, reaped all the benefits of it, at some point I felt like it was not in tune with what I really, wanted to do with my life. And I was, even though I was grateful for all the things I learned, because I learned a lot, and, it gave me a lot of, probably work ethics and fortitude and persistence in,
Mhm.
wanting to maybe pursue a different lifestyle and, have, be sort of the master of my own destiny. And that's why I chose to,
Sure.
do it like that. So.
The one thing that I thought was interesting, so your business is based on you do corporate video projects, you do your art, your feature films and your artworks, but you also do weddings. And we talked about that. And only because I did a writer's retreat last fall and there were photographers there. And for them, the pinnacle of like their photography success was not having to do weddings. And I so and you though talk about like a wedding almost as a work of art. So how do you connect with that in terms of the work you do on weddings?
Yeah, and I really do not see, a difference for me in terms of, the type of work that I provide either for myself or for clients. I'm one of those strange fellows who, just likes to create. I like to create
Oh,
whatever
interesting.
it is. And, whatever
Huh.
I have the opportunity to create, I kind of put my heart and soul into it. So I
Mhm,
do not differentiate like a wedding from, a corporate job. Although I think the client might see it differently. Like I think the
mhm.
client, for a wedding is a lot more emotionally attached to
Sure.
the end result of the product. And, it's interesting because, yeah, people might see it as sort of demeaning, but actually the impact that you have when you create a wedding video for the client is actually maybe, you know, a lot more meaningful than, you know, when you do it
Actually, the
for a
longevity is
corporation.
longer. I mean, corporate videos in 2 years, you got to do another one. It's all over. You know, wedding videos or those kinds of videos people watch and have for years. In fact, the emotional connection to it actually grows over time, as
Oh
opposed
yeah,
to,
totally. I've
yeah,
had,
to
like, you know,
diminishing.
clients that, you know, brides and grooms that still show their wedding video to their children, you know,
Oh,
10
for
years
sure.
after they got married.
Mhm.
So, you know,
Mhm. What I love about that, and I wonder if it sort of ties into a philosophy of life, because what you're talking about, Kai, is that no matter what you do, you bring your whole self. You know, they talk a lot now with like stress and anxiety about the whole concept of being fully present. That's what it sounds like you're talking about, that you're just fully present and engaged in all that you're doing. Does that tie into maybe a life philosophy that you have?
yeah, I mean, you know, I think, you know, just like you, I think without having this sort of life philosophy, maybe we wouldn't have, you know, chosen the path we chose, you
Mhm.
know,
Sure.
again, it goes back to the core of this, you know, life philosophy of maybe trying to, you know, like you were explaining in your cultural talk introductions, you know, we
Mhm.
want to be our own, you know, heroes and be able to, you know, maybe shape, you know, our lives and be somewhat of, you know, maybe an example of how you can maybe be part of this world without having to always, you know, follow this well-trodden path of, you know, maybe what people like to portray as success
Mhm.
and being, you know,
Mhm.
this
You
and
know,
that.
that's a hard one because what that does though, I don't know about but what that does is it's the internal and external gauges of success. Because I think you and I spoke about this when we were sort of just talking before the show, where people go into business again. I want to, I'm going to work less hours. I'm going to make more money because I'm the owner. And of course, you find that as a business owner, right? It's exactly the opposite,
That's the
right?
opposite,
You
right? Oh yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
work more, you generally make less, but boy, the flexibility and the ownership is fantastic.
Oh, it's so rewarding. I mean,
Mhm,
you know, I understand all the, you know, negative sides of it, but I still wouldn't trade it for, you know, those past, I think, a bit over a decade after I left my corporate job until
mhm,
now. I still do not regret, you know, any single bit of it. I learned so much and, you know,
mhm,
fell hard on many, you know, experiences. Obviously, I see my friends, as I was telling you, doing so well in the corporate world, and you know, but at the same time I also see the conflicts that, you know, some of them have, you know, in that sort of environment. And you know, having this sort of freedom and flexibility, and I think above all just the feeling that you are, you know, maybe contributing to society in maybe trying to be this different, you
mhm,
know, showing this different model of, you know, uh, being able to self-sustain yourself, uh, without obviously, you know, maybe disconnecting yourself from the entire
mhm,
world, but still being part of, you
mhm,
know, but working with corporations, but you know, still having your own flexible agenda and schedule is,
mhm.
to
I
me,
feel like I'm
important.
just, I feel like in some ways we're taught that we need to have a certain level of material goods, or there's certain gauges that you have to make this much money to be successful, or these external gauges. Whereas what I find fascinating about smaller business owners that are pursuing their own paths is that you can actually make a living and support a family, college, the works, I think, on less than we were actually told.
Oh, you learn so much about that. Yeah, I mean, you know, I was making probably, you know, I mean, for the first 3 years, I wasn't making good money at all when I, you
Mhm.
know,
Sure.
became an artist, filmmaker, and then I had to, you know, through necessity, you know, learn that, you know, you give freebies, and then you get the bigger clients, and then you
Mhm. Right, you have
build
to do networking.
relationships,
Mhm,
yes,
mhm,
and you know, do networking. And yeah, I mean, even my first wedding video was a wedding video that I did maybe 12 years ago.
mhm,
You know, I was just flown to I mean, I was just, you know, transported to another place. I did it, and it was pretty much a freebie for my partner photographer. And then it showed so well that I submitted to, one of those contests and won, the awards for best wedding videography. And it was my
Oh,
first
that's
wedding video.
fantastic.
So
So
it
talk
was,
about that for a minute in terms of self-promotion, because that's also hard. You're the artist, you're the creator, but you also have to be your biggest cheerleader.
oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
talk about that. Do you do a lot of contests, and how do you find out about them?
Yes, you have to do those, at least at the beginning. I do a lot less these days because I do not need to do it.
Mhm.
I have my core group of clients that I feel like, I'm going to be able to continue doing at least, parts of,
That must be
my,
corporate, because hopefully you don't have repeat marriage
yes, yes,
clients.
yes, yes, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, at the beginning you gotta be able to, you gotta just be entrepreneurial. You
Mhm.
gotta go for it, shoot for the sky, believe in yourself, and just push hard and hope for the best without
Mhm.
any sort of certainty or
Mhm.
certitude that you're going to be able to make it.
Right, you just have to you do have to have, like, this just blind faith that it's all gonna be great. Do you get
Yeah.
most of your clients still from referrals? Because I know a lot of smaller entrepreneurs, still you have to have an online presence, you have to have, like, websites, social media presence, things like that, but most, smaller entrepreneurs are still getting a lot of their clients through referrals. What
Yeah,
about you?
yeah, no referrals. I have the chance to work with a partner who also has contacts. So I think it's a good thing to work with people you really are getting
Mhm,
along professionally with, that,
mhm,
you guys can help each other and not be in this sort of mindset that maybe some artists have, as to, seeing it always like, oh, as a competition between yourself and, your other people you work with or collaborators and
mhm.
things like that. I think, as an artist, we do have our own pride. We might feel like, oh, we're
Mhm.
better this and we're better that. But
But I think you're right about that. It's not about competition. It's like more is more, and it's about fit, it's about style. Like, there's so many
exactly,
different, yeah.
somebody might be better at marketing. Well, by all means, that person who's one of your good
Mhm,
partner or collaborators, well, by
mhm,
all means, work with them and have, create your own
mhm,
collective or,
mhm,
talent agency
mhm.
or whatever. And
Oh, I'm sorry, I
yeah.
didn't mean to cut you off, but just so yes, and the idea of partnerships, is that an approach? Do you do a lot of partnerships, and do you initiate them, or do you have people contact you to partner? And who are what types of businesses might you partner with?
Well, I have friends. Some of
Mhm,
them are from, ad agencies. Other people that, we've worked with for so long that, you've become sort of not friends but good acquaintances.
mhm,
And, obviously my partner is also my life partner. She's
mhm.
a great photographer who worked at the Chicago Tribune and,
Great.
won a good Pulitzer, was a great,
Oh,
staff
fantastic.
photographer. So that was great to get some of those editorial works that we needed, some of those, but then, commercial works come from other parts. And, I think having this sort of all encompassing, being able to do photo, being able to do video editing, and, I think a lot of maybe smaller businesses or
Mhm,
non-for-profit institutionals do love that. I mean, you might not get the big, ad agency works which are usually taken by, some of those,
mhm.
very well-known producers and
Right.
filmmakers,
Well,
and
and
you're
they
not going to
often
get that.
have, the bigger companies are going to, that's what's interesting about being a smaller business as well. And it sounds like you do this. The bigger agencies, the bigger companies have, this is my editor, this is my filmer, this is my producer. Whereas when you get smaller, you kind of do all of that. I know. So just, I don't know, station identification. If you're just tuning in, this is Intercultural Spark presented by Intercultural Talk. Hello, which is my company. So I do digital, intercultural, and real life marketing. I do all three because when I get a client, it's also a smaller business. Sometimes it's even someone pursuing a life project. They don't want to have to understand what's happening from different people. So I'm like their conduit to, whether it's social media, website, let's do an event now, because that's what smaller businesses demand. They don't want to have to manage those individual parts.
No, yeah, a lot of, smaller clients, even big institutional clients or big, non-for-profit, they'd like you to be, at least be able to provide the whole team. And so oftentimes, like you said, I mean, it's not just, creating the work. There's a lot of pre-production involved that you have to, connect with the clients, like sometimes months in advance, and plan. And sometimes you plan for it for a long time and it doesn't happen. But
right.
when you,
Because who knows? Because there's like COVID or who knows what.
exactly.
Sure,
Oh yeah,
sure, stuff
yeah. And
happens.
you just have to have that
Mhm.
fortitude and be very nice. And I think you mentioned that when we were talking. I think above all, we're just very nice people and eager to help, eager to do
Wait,
something.
high five right there.
Yeah.
Here's to being nice. Or actually, wait, there
Yes.
we go. Do it right there. High five right on the.
Oh yeah,
There we
yeah.
go. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That.
Got it.
Oh, that's great. Well, and I find it really, I absolutely love, which I love, the chance to talk to you and to talk to different business owners. But I know I've got like a web designer, I've got a logo designer. I find it to be so much fun because when you work with different aspects related to, let's say, a final project, it's so fascinating. I mean, that's what intercultural is all about. Everyone looks at things so differently. And I find those conversations to be so much fun because it just expands your view of things because of getting different ideas as you're building a project.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we all come from so many different backgrounds, and I think today people like to sort of polarize everything and make us all feel like we're all hating each other, But I think no, I think with
Mhm.
having different perspectives, we still are able to. I think we share the same core understanding of what is good, what is bad, what is worthy, what is not. And then everybody brings in their own cultural and maybe personal
Mhm.
experiences into
Sure.
the and for the betterment of something, whatever thing we're trying to produce. If we're creating a video for a product, or it's something for maybe a higher cause. I think we're all like maybe injecting a little bit of our own secret sauce, and
Absolutely. Kai, I want to go ahead because your story, it's interesting. We're talking about how fascinating your life is now, but you've got like amazing work and you've got a really interesting story in terms of how you got here. So, what I want to do is go ahead and bring up our flash photo stories. So our flash photo story. So Kai has sent me some photos ahead of time, and you got to love an artist because I'm usually like send me 4 to 6 photos, but I love how you capture. I know he's already laughing, and I'm going to show everybody why, because his one photo was 4 photos. But you are a storyteller, and so you've told a story. So the flash photo stories, I flash a photo on the screen, and Kai, you tell me a 1 to 2 sentence story about what's happening here. So what's going on in this one?
This was like for a corporate client,
Mhm.
called Courvoisier in Cognac, which is a beautiful region, just a little north of the Bordeaux region. So
Mhm.
Bordeaux is well known for wine,
Oh,
and
you have an office in France too, don't you?
I go there quite
Okay.
often. So, I used to have a pied-à-terre in France, and but not anymore. So
Pied-à-terre. What is that?
yes,
That's like, I just know like foot of land. Qu'est-ce que c'est un
yeah. So,
pied-à-terre?
there was a condo in Paris that my
Oh, I
mom
like it. It
had,
sounds so
and
much
yeah.
more romantic when you call it pied-à-terre. Wait, je vais boire mon café et croissant dans mon petit, what'd you say? A petit-à-terre.
Pied-à-terre, yeah. It was in the beautiful little place, the 18th district, the 18th arrondissement, the 18th in
Mhm.
Paris, and it was great. But I still have my brother who's in France, so I
Okay.
can
And
always go
was
there.
French, did you speak French? Because your accent is, I don't know if people can tell the difference between Kai's accent and my accent, but yours sounds more authentic. Did you speak French before English? You did, didn't you?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I lived in Paris for about 21 years before I came to
Okay.
the US. I mean, for no, a little less, 20 years. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
So
So here, and I've got a picture of that story when you first went there. Is this the one where you had like one of the most famous actors in France in the ad as well?
Oh
Was that
no,
this
no,
one?
yeah, no. We were shooting this, corporate job ad for a client Courvoisier, and then we went through all these beautiful surroundings. The castle. We were shooting, people drinking beautiful cocktails, and the CEOs of the companies, and we were also visiting those beautiful places where they store
Wow.
their cognac, and let them mature, 100-year-old cognacs and things like that. But anyways, it was very intensive, like 4-day job. I felt
Mhm.
like I was lost in translation. It was just nonstop. And
Oh.
we had a whole crew, and
Yeah,
we
how
had this.
big's your crew? And
It
were
was five
they local or
people,
did you bring them all from here?
no, there were some locals. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, two of us came from the US, and then we had hired locals in France through, people I worked with back in when I was shooting music videos for record labels in France,
Okay.
like EMI, record makers and things like
Oh,
that.
nice.
So,
See, this
yeah.
is why I
So,
wanna do the photos because you get all this really I knew that there was, like, all this really depth and breadth. What's
but anyways,
happening in
it was kind of crazy though. Finish this thing,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
it was we were exhausted, and we were in this 5-star hotel that had beautiful pool and spa, and so we went into our AD, who is fresh off the college, and who was really happy to help out. Um,
That's the assistant director,
yeah, yeah,
AD?
told
Okay.
us to go into the steam room, and he just like was whispering something, and nobody could hear. We went in there, and lo and behold, there's this guy, who's just on his own before we all came in, the whole crew, and just disrupted his moment of zen silence. And turns out it was Boyd Holbrook, who's this guy who played in so many movies, like TV series, Netflix series, like
That's great.
Narcos, and now he's in the Sandman. He's one of the top, actors in Sandman. So it was funny, and he left immediately when we came in because we disrupted his moment of peace and silence.
Sure, sure.
But
Oh,
anyways,
that's
yeah,
funny.
got it.
Oh, well, that's gotta be awkward. Sorry, not to be totally crude, but if you're in a steam room, you're either in towels or naked too. So it's like
Yes,
you can't
yes.
really be like, "I got a pen here somewhere. Can I get an autograph?"
Oh, he was, yeah. The AD was so nice and so
Yeah.
funny. He's a cute boy from Italy, and he just like just kept on saying his name and louder because we're like, who? And he's like, Boyd Holbrook, and the guy is like, what? Okay, I'm leaving.
That's great. That's funny. Now, what's happening in this one? Those
This
windows are
is
beautiful.
Yeah, this is kind of to show that I think
Your
like
photography.
yeah, and you could do art, but you can do weddings as well, and you can have a good time as well. And that's the
Mhm.
beauty of being, sort of your own independent
Oh,
artist.
are
Is you
some of these from a wedding? Like this, the
Yeah,
pink,
so
what is
that
that?
was
Like
like,
a pink Cadillac with
yeah, no,
people
it
with the
was a
umbrellas?
wedding that we shot in Paris, and we had planned for it for like months
Mhm.
before, and then it turns out on that very day it was a rainy day. In French, they love to say mariage pluvieux, mariage heureux means rainy wedding is a happy wedding. And
Okay.
so we were just driving along the Champs Elysees, and
That
it
does
was
look
just
totally
pouring
French
rain.
in, like, this pink what is it? Like an old Cadillac with the umbrellas. It
I
looks so
I think it
French.
was an old MG, like,
Okay.
those, British, like,
Yeah.
small,
Wait, is this
racing
underwater
cars.
photo also from, is this
No,
underwater
so
photo
that's
also
like
from the
from
wedding?
another trip. We went to Jamaica, and we were shooting
Okay.
No Time to Rest, and then one last afternoon, we were able to go and, do a little
Mhm.
deep, underwater
Um,
snorkeling,
oh, that's really
yeah.
cool. So, Kai, I don't know how this happened. We literally have 2 minutes left, and, of course,
Okay.
we're just now getting to the huge story, and you have to guess the exercise, and I have to compliment your video about the dumplings. That was amazing. So,
Oh, thank
wait,
you.
so in 60 seconds or less, can you tell this really amazing, deep, powerful story? And which one are you? Are you the baby or the second one?
No, actually, it's interesting. Those are my two brothers, but I'm
Okay.
inside my mother. I'm inside my mother, who is this lady at
Oh.
the very back, the shorter old adult at the back of the photo. She was 27, 20, turning 28. Anyways, that little
Wait, your mom
graphic,
was or your sister was?
and her sister was,
Okay.
8 years younger, so she was 19.
Okay.
So, and the little like map that you see, or the
Yeah.
handwriting, is a map of the journey that we took
Oh my
from
God.
Cambodia to
Mm.
Vietnam. And it
And just
was,
to be clear, to get the headline, this is so me as like the marketer. Let me just make sure we got the headline, which is Kai was born like in 1975 in Phnom Penh, like right as the Khmer Rouge was going through Cambodia. And so your mom did this perilous journey with you and your 6 siblings to get you out of Vietnam, out of Cambodia into France to safety. I mean, it's
yeah,
wow.
and 3 siblings, and those are cousins.
Whew.
But yeah, there was a big family, all walking, making
Oh my
hundreds of
God, how long
miles
is I can
journey.
only imagine that's like so you the whole family walked. That's crazy.
Yes, yeah,
And now this is your family once you're all settled. Is this in
yeah.
Paris?
We that was in Le Mans, the 24 hours of Le Mans, where there's this racing car. So
Oh, sure.
we didn't settle in Paris. We went to Le Mans.
Oh
It
my
was
God. Do you know I
great.
did a student exchange program? I was in Le Mans. Were you in Le Mans in wait, 1979?
We were, no
I was in Le
way.
Mans in 1979.
Oh my
Stop
gosh.
it.
So, well, I guess we were at the same place at the same time,
Oh my
many
gosh.
moons ago.
That's so funny. There's something like, I don't know, there's something like in the universe
Why were
about
you
that.
there? Why were you there?
I lived with the family for 3 weeks. I went on an exchange trip.
Wow.
I went to, and then I'm going to ask you for the exercise. When I was 15, I went to Mexico and lived with the family for 3 weeks. It was a summer program, and just was like, blah, blah, blah. I was like a papagayo speaking Spanish. So I came back. I'm like, I love languages, started taking French, and then went to Paris, or went to France with a school trip my senior year in high school. So it
Wow.
was like it was probably 80, like right around there, 80, 81, but yeah, close to around there.
That
So
time, yeah, yeah. No,
yeah.
I just wanted to show that there's a little journal that mom left, and
Wow.
I'm working on trying to, basically put it together again and creating a book out of, this journal
Oh,
that
out
she
of her
wrote.
stuff.
I mean, my mom and dad kept a journal during their journey. So,
Oh my God,
and
that actually is a film right there. So all right, let's do the exercise, and then I'm gonna put your website up again because Kai, a couple things. I want everyone to go to Kai's website. And I love this. To me, Kai sort of encapsulates the really deep, sensitive artistry of you. When his mom passed away, there were frozen dumplings that she had made. It was not dumplings, but it was a ceremonial food in the freezer, and you did this whole video of unwrapping the last one, and just I could feel the power of that moment when you did that. Just yes, I like you could feel everything, what that means, like in terms of tradition and your mom and the last one, and it's so powerful. So please go to Kai's website. You can also see his feature film, the first one someplace else, but now you're doing the Divine Comedy, Dante's Divine Comedy, yeah, with your brother. All right, exercise. So it's 2 versions. It's either, I know we're going to stand here. I think I'm going to get unplugged. All right, so I call it the basketball. So it's like a dribble and a jump. Dribble, jump. Okay, then the low impact, you got it. Low impact version is like just do a little up and down for low impact. Oh, yes, look at you. I love it. Fantastic. I hope everyone at home is doing it as well. Kai, come back, put your mic back on, and tell me, why did I pick that exercise for you? Wait, you're muted. Ah, I still can't hear you.
can you hear me?
Now I can. All right. Why
Oh,
did we pick that exercise for you?
picking up the ball. No, I don't know. You tell me.
Because I thought the first one was very straight up and down. It was very rigid and corporate. So you spent your time in your rigid corporate moves, like going up the ladder. And then you said, no, I got to be me.
Makes total sense. Yeah, no, well,
So that, my friends, is an example of interpretive aerobics, where aerobics fitness, it just has a deeper meaning, Kai.
Oh yes, oh yeah. It's so important to, I'm trying to stay fit all the time because we're kind of always either stuck with clients or in front of the computer. So
Oh, and with video, there's usually lots of food. So,
oh
well,
yeah.
thank you so much for being a guest on Intercultural Talk. I hope that people will come find you. So we've got Kai is Kai artist, KAI-DUC LUONG, and you can also find Kai's website. So find his video and stuff there. You can sign up at interculturaltalk.com to find about upcoming shows, or please do subscribe on YouTube. Next week, we have our resident technologist, Thierry Dubert. Thierry, we are looking, there's so much crazy stuff going on.
He's French too?
He's French Canadian. Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
he is. I'm gonna start doing wait, je vais commencer faire les, I don't know how to say interview en français. So I'm just gonna start doing all the interviews in French.
Ouais.
Guys, thank you so much,
Thank you so
everybody.
much,
We will
Liana.
see
You were
you next
amazing.
week. Oh, so much fun. So
Yeah.
thank you everyone for tuning to Intercultural Talk. Bye-bye.